favorite pastime is talking myself and my friends and family out of buying stuff that they don't need. And so I think it's natural that on this channel, one of my favorite videos to make is a video where I'm talking you out of buying things, okay? We call them anti-hauls on this channel. You can call it me de-influencing you. We can call the result of it under consumption core. Whatever you want to call it, I'm here to give you reasons to not buy things, because I personally think, as an environmentalist, being an anti-consumerist and not buying stuff is the easiest, most beneficial way to help the planet. Just stop buying crap. Denormalize having a million things in your home that you don't need and you really don't even want. My goal with this series of videos that have existed on my channel for a really long time is just to denormalize the haul culture that has existed on YouTube and exists all over social media of this inflammatory language telling you things that you need to buy. I'd like to be in contrast to that and tell you why you don't need to buy things. Everything we buy has an impact before it makes it to us. Like this laptop sitting right here, its environmental impact doesn't just happen when I get rid of it someday, whether it's recycled or ends up in a landfill or wherever it ends up. That is important, but even more important than that is buying fewer laptops, because the environmental impact of mining those materials, of shipping them all over the world, of melting those materials down from their raw form to form them into the shape of the laptop, the energy it takes to do that, the greenhouse gas emissions, the impacts of mining in general on our water, on our soil, on our forests, on local populations is so massive, and we don't talk about it enough. And the answer to all of those problems on a macro scale is changing our economic system. But on a micro scale, on a you and me scale, is buying less stuff and shifting our culture to an anti-consumerism one. My stated goal of this channel, of my mission online, is to get people to give up consumerism for community. So if that sounds like something you would like, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I fear that the fandom of this artist is going to see this and be really mad at me for saying it, but I don't feel like it should be normal to fly across the world to see a concert. And I'm not even gonna pretend to you like I don't like Taylor Swift because of her emissions from her own private jet. I have issues with that as an environmentalist, but from just a basic white girl perspective, I do love her music. She's like the only artist I've ever been an actual fan of when it comes to music. But I feel like as the Swifties have like gone to bat to combat her CO2 emissions from her private jet, they've also made it normal on TikTok to fly to see her in concert. And not just to fly to see her in concert once. They've already seen her in concert, and they want to see the same concert again across the world. And not only do I think that the emissions associated with flying across the world to see a concert are problematic, especially if you're just like going there for the concert and coming back. It's just mind-blowing to me. But I also think that with a lot of the things going on in the world that could really use our dollars as donations, like the consideration of spending thousands of dollars to pay for a concert, pay for a hotel, pay for flights. The thought of spending that money on a concert, especially if it's your second, third, fourth concert, is unimaginable to me. Like, there are so many causes out there who could use your dollars in a much better way than spending money to go see the same concert you already saw. And I say that with a grain of salt. That is my personal philosophy when it comes to environmentalism. I don't think you have to give up everything you love, every joy in your life to care about the planet, and I don't think it's a very good marketing strategy to be like,
you can never fly anywhere else again or you're not an environmentalist.
I think that you can pick and choose things that are of great value to you and keep and get rid of certain things in your life to help the planet accordingly. I just think that the normalization that I have seen it on TikTok, and the like, you go girl, that's an amazing thing to do, to fly across the world for that reason, is just, the normalization of that is not okay to me. It's not cute. I don't personally like it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, this one's a little bit unserious, but one of the things that I do for my face skincare routine, I dermaplane. As I'm getting older, I have hair there. It's whatever it is, and my preference is to get rid of it. I talked about it recently in my bathroom routine video, which I will link up here if you want to see it. And that's me, okay? I know that my routine is more sustainable, less wasteful than a lot of the things that you'll see online because of my personal beliefs of like, I don't need to throw away plastic things every single week for my body care. That seems really wasteful and all those sort of things. But when I saw this, I was like, it's like hair identifying spray. I feel like it's just baby powder in an aerosol can. It looks like this, and it's literally spray your face with it so that when you're dermaplaning, you can make sure you get all areas of your face. When I saw it on my For You page, the problem and the thing that popped in my head is like, it's this never ending cycle of things that we need to add to our routine. Like if we consistently were like adding every single thing to our routine that is marketed to us, that because our bodies just aren't good enough the way that they are, that they always need to be buying something new to add to our routine to make our bodies look perfect the way that like supposed to look according to essentially marketing standards. I don't know what else these standards are based on. It is a never-ending hamster wheel of marketers trying to sell us that our bodies are not good the way that they are. So you need to buy this thing, something that you weren't even considering is wrong with you before. But here's the answer to a problem you didn't even question existing. And like I'm susceptible to these things as well. It's just a human, and especially as a woman existing in the world, we're constantly being told that like we're not good enough, and if we don't do this, actually we will be old and we'll be worthless to society. Like that's very baked into so many narratives in our culture. This just kind of sparked that within me, and so I added it to my notes app for my anti-haul list to bring it up to you. Do you think this is something that is like useful, or just another thing to add to a routine that people are trying to sell us? Okay, maybe a lot of the things that I wrote in my notes app this time are a little unserious. Fry boots. Have you seen that these are trending? Let me know. I only really see that things like this are trending because I watch thrifting videos. I watch when people are going out to thrift stores and things that they find. I find it fun, inspiring. But they will sometimes make videos that are specifically like trying to thrift XYZ trend. And the fry boots have been everywhere. And then I start noticing them on people on Pinterest, on my social media. I just can't shake the feeling that they're ugly. Like I just think they're not cute. I also think that what happens is like these very high quality boots come out oftentimes, and then places that are really unethical will rip them off and make them out of essentially disposable materials. Like I am almost certain that a fry boot would last someone like their whole life, but there will undoubtedly be a Shein that comes in and makes a copycat version of it because they're trendy right now, and then in 2 months they will be in the trash. And that's what's really frustrating about trends like this for me, is how short-lived the trend cycle is, and then how cheap fast fashion companies will rip off higher quality things that will only be meant to last a trend cycle and then end up in the landfill. I hate it. I hate the way micro trends work like that. But I also wanted to put this on my list to anti-haul because I tried to base if I'm going to participate in a trend. And when I say participate in a trend, I'm usually waiting to find it secondhand. It often takes me a lot longer to participate in a trend. By the time I buy into something that I like, that I saw that was trendy, it no longer is. I try to base whether or not I even want to participate in a trend on my first reaction to said trend. So if you see a trend and the first time you see it, you're like, absolutely not, I don't like that.
They're ugly.
You really need to pay attention to that instinct, because what can happen is start to be very influenced by what's around us into thinking, oh, maybe I don't hate it so much, and you see it so many times that you're like, okay, fine, yeah, it's great, and maybe you buy into the trend only to realize a month later, no, you actually don't like this thing, and you could have just removed yourself from the trend overall because it's not something that you actually like to begin with, and you probably don't actually like it now. I really like to tell people to pay attention to your first reaction when you see a trend, because that's probably your truest reaction before you start seeing it everywhere and it becomes normalized and something that you think you should participate in. Y'all, gender reveals have to stop. The amount of money and resources wasted on gender reveals to go viral on TikTok, taking something that should be quite intimate as a gender reveal and setting it up to go viral on TikTok is so dystopian and like very strange. And some of them have even used private jets to drop like the color powder of the gender that they're revealing, which is so incredibly wasteful and just nasty that I can't deal with it anymore. And I feel like because these viral gender reveals are all over the internet, people feel like they also, like in their average, just regular old home with their families, feel like they need to do something more than just like a cupcake reveal. You know what I mean? I feel like this competition to have like the most viral, ridiculous gender reveal has shifted the norm of what you're supposed to do for a gender reveal. And people are now doing so much in their own homes to do the gender reveal that I just can't stand the normalization of it. Balloon releases, not okay. Absolutely not okay to litter plastic into our environment for a gender reveal. Fireworks, some of which have been rumored to cause bigger fires than just like in your own home, not cool. So I'm not anti-hauling gender reveals overall, but any gender reveal that is definitely like over a certain normal way to do it, I can't deal with it anymore. Someone help me, please. If you're watching this, help me shift that type of mindset in our culture because it really irritates me.
Today, Shein warehouses are bustling to get your packages shipped out and delivered to your door. We're also making speedy progress toward another big goal: eliminating landfill waste from our warehouse operations.
Shein is bragging about eliminating waste from their warehouses as if they are not filling our landfills with waste because their clothing is... If you're watching this video, you probably already know why fast fashion is problematic, and like, I don't have to tell you. But there are some brands out there who are doing sustainable things, and then they also try to be zero waste in their warehouses. To me, when you talk about being zero waste in your warehouse, you are not addressing the issue of your brand. The issue with your brand is that you do the thing that we were just talking about with the fry boots. You take something that is cool, you make it in a very cheap way with materials that do not last, do not hold up, and then those things end up in the landfill. Not only do they end up in the landfill because of the materials and the way that you're producing clothes because you are trying to crank them out so quickly, which you also bragged about in that video, but the other problem is that you are really the reason that microtrends can exist. Because if you are creating clothing in a way that is not unsustainable and unethical, you can't pump out clothing as fast as Shein does because of microtrends, because they steal from artists, because they do things in a sketchy way, because they don't pay people fair wages, because they take so many shortcuts in manufacturing that they are able to pump out clothes as fast as they can, and those clothes become untrendy and unwanted just as fast as they pump them out, literally filling our landfill. So when you talk about being more eco-friendly because of the waste in your warehouse, that is the definition of greenwashing. You are not focusing on the actual issue at hand and making the biggest impact of your footprint less, making it more eco-friendly. You're talking about this whole other side mission. I don't care. I don't care about the waste in your warehouses, your shipping warehouses. What they're talking about is where their clothes sit before they come to someone's house. It's just focusing on that is wild. And so I don't think that probably if you're watching this video, I needed to add Shein to like an anti-haul for you or for me. But it's really frustrating to see brands not address their actual impact on the planet, which is just the amount of clothing that Shein pumps out. And the study came out, like, I think last month, that the average person who shops on Shein is around 35 years old. We'll pop it here. But the point is that the people who are shopping on Shein are not shopping out of necessity. Brands like Shein don't pump out the amount of clothing that they do because people are shopping for essentials. And so I would just like to anti-haul Shein and any brand similar to it, okay? That's all. So I'm currently in the market of finding a new staple necklace, or maybe a necklace stack, I don't know. That's why I'm wearing this one today, because I recently bought these from Buffalo Exchange. But the reason that I'm doing that is because the necklace that you've probably seen me wear in literally hundreds of videos, the one that has a little earth on it, my mom gifted it to me and I love that thing, but I have had to replace the clasp on it 3 times. And the frustrating part of that is that they didn't just make it out of a material that would last me a long time. And what I realized during this whole process is, like, there's so much jewelry out there made like that. The one that I have, the necklace that I wore for a long time, was gold plated, and even gold plated stuff doesn't last very long because the plating comes off from the oils of your skin, or if it gets wet, all those sort of things. And so I put costume jewelry on here to anti-haul it because I feel like so much waste comes from that, because it's jewelry that is not meant to last very long at all. And not that everybody buys jewelry with the intention of it being something that they wear every single day of their life like I do, but I just started to really think this process how much jewelry is out there that literally cannot be worn. Even if someone wanted to wear it longer than a few wears, it literally can't be. All this jewelry is being produced with the intention of it being waste within like a few weeks. And like, I started thinking about how much stuff is probably ending up in our landfills, not even just because people are like, oh, this isn't trendy anymore and I don't want to wear it, just because it goes to shit so quickly because it's made to do that. I learned on TikTok like a couple years ago that the best way to make jewelry is basically, I think, to use stainless steel because it doesn't rust, it doesn't turn green, and it's very like hypoallergenic, is that what it's called? Like, it doesn't have very many allergens that can irritate people's skin. And then to gold, not plate, gold fill. Use gold fill because then it won't tarnishes, it actually is like, they call it like non-tarnishable and like waterproof jewelry. So if you actually want to wear something long-term, you can, but it's still not at this like huge price point, and you can use recycled steel. I just feel like that makes sense, but for some reason it's not the norm at all. I haven't been able to really find like another signature necklace that is made that way so that I know that it'll last me years. And yeah, I just feel like it's really frustrating to think about how much stuff is being made with the knowing absolutely that a person could only wear it a few times before it is no longer wearable. And why no one's really talking about that. Okay, I guess we're getting into the time where it's not too early for everyone to start talking about fall stuff. For me, because it is 101 outside still. But the thing I saw that I really wanted to anti-haul, okay, is people making TikToks because people are running out to the stores and buying this one specific like type of decoration that everybody wants for this season because it's the cool thing this season. And apparently there is like a person walking a dog and they're both wearing like ghost attire. And what I saw this TikTok is that people are buying it and then flipping it on eBay for $500.
I hope all of the people that are going out to Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and buying the walking the ghost dog statue for $80, which I would sell my soul for, and are flipping it on eBay for $500, shit their pants on the way home repeatedly over and over again because you're like taking the fun out of Halloween.
It's just this frustrating thing to me that I really think that like we've lost a lot of the magic that comes with nostalgia, which is kind of the reason that I love fall. And I did a video last fall about how brands have really taken advantage of nostalgia in marketing. And then it's the normalization of people buying new decorations every year. And the way that this like dog ghost trend, whatever the heck it is, has really just like taken off just furthers my suspicion that people are literally, if not replacing their decor every year, buying new decor every year. And whatever the cool thing is, a lot of people are running out to buy it and missing out on the best part of the holiday season, I think, which is bringing out the things from last year or even from your childhood or even that were passed down in your family and having them in your home for a special moment. And every time I talk about like not buying new decorations every season, I get comments that are like, no one does that, who does that? And my answer is, literally just get online and you'll see so many people are doing that. And I don't think it should be normal, and it's incredibly wasteful. And I wish that we could go back to a time like in the 90s when people's decorations were really timeless and it wasn't just like everyone was buying whatever was cool that season. I made 2 pumpkins for myself last year in my ceramics class that I was in, and I'm so excited to put them out this year. And I'm not saying that everybody, like the alternative to buying all these trendy things is to make your own stuff. I really just think it's to be more conscious about what you're buying, if it's timeless, and if the things that you're buying that aren't timeless, what's gonna happen to them in 5 years when the ghost dog trend that you bought because you saw it on TikTok and thought it was cool, are you gonna think it's cool in 5 years? I mean, you might. Is anybody actually thinking about that when they're buying things? I really just think that that part of the equation is not there, and I wish that we could normalize keeping the same decorations for decades, because I think that's really what makes this time of year special. Well, those are all the things I wrote down to anti-haul for this week. I would love to hear about things that you would like to anti-haul. It will give me some inspiration for me to keep this series going. Like I said, to talk myself out of buying things, my friends and family, I'm always trying to talk them out of buying things. I'm adding you to my list of people that I am trying to talk out of buying things. So let me know what you talk yourself out of buying this week, this month, this year in the comments. And remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye, guys.